Okay, welcome to this tutorial on annotation, and I'm going to show you how to annotate your boundary line so that it shows bearings and distances. In AutoCAD we'll call this labeling because we're basically just labeling the line. So on your Annotate tab, go to this button here. It says Add Labels. Click on it. And then this drop-down box comes up, and you can add labels to different types of objects, such as surfaces, parcels, feature lines, alignments. And we're going to go all the way down to the line and curve, because we did not make our boundary a parcel. It's actually just a line and curve to AutoCAD. So we're going to say Add Line and Curve Labels. This Add Labels dialog box pops up, and it will stay on your screen until you actually tell it to go away by clicking the X. So our feature is line and curve, and we're going to change the label type to multiple segments. So our boundary line has multiple segments. It's not just one. If we click single segment, it will just label one line. But we want it to label the entire boundary line all the way around. Then you have to select the label style. And you select that by clicking this drop-down box. And you can pick different styles for how you want to label the boundary. For most purposes, you want to label it with the bearing and the distance. And this label style will put the bearing and distance side by side. And this bearing over distance will put a bearing on one side line, distance on the other side. So that's the one we want to use. We also have an arc, as you recall. So it's going to label the curve. And you have different options for how you want to label that curve. And the one with the most information, as they put here, is the distance, radius, and delta. So we're going to select that. So we've picked our label style. And so now we're going to add that label to our drawing. So you click Add. And now we have our selection tool. So we have to go in here and select our polyline. So click on that, and then it automatically adds labels. And as you can tell, it's not very pretty because we are at 200 scale. The property is kind of small, so it's hard to read everything that's there. So we need to do a little bit of editing to make sure that our labels look right. Also, if you notice, the distance is to the thousandth place, and our bearings are out to the hundredths of a second. And those are unnecessary. We only need to go to the hundredth place on the distance and to the nearest second on the bearing. We also have some problems over here with the arc. So, in my opinion, the text is way too large. So let's look at how we actually edit those labels to make them look the way we want them to. Well, the quickest way to do that is to just go here where we've got this label style and click this box. If you click the down arrow, you can create a new one. You can copy the current one. You can create a child of the current selection, or you can edit the current selection, or you can pick from drawing. So you want to use a label style like that, like a different one in the drawing, you could use this selection tool here. But we're going to edit the current selection. And when you click on that, this Label Style Composer pops up. And I'm going to go through each of these tabs on the Label Style Composer in just a moment. So I'll show you how you can access this composer from different areas. So you could also click on this label, and you'll notice the contextual tab shows up at the top of the ribbon. And it's for labels, a general segment label. So on this, you can look at the label properties, and when you click on label properties, the property dialog box comes up. So I can edit the properties of just that label, or you can say edit label style, and you can choose the label style you want to edit, and click here. And your label style composer comes up, so you can edit that label style. There's also one other place I want to show you. Escape and go to the Home and Tool Space. Let's move this over here. Okay, in your tool space, if you'll recall, you can change settings of objects in the tool space. So we go to Settings tab, and we're looking at our Homework 4 drawing, and you click on the General. You have a label styles here, and there are label styles for notes, lines, curves, markers, links, shapes, and if you click on Expand the Line, you'll see all the different label styles that are in this drawing. You can right-click on it and edit it to also bring up the label style composer. So if you're wanting to change all of them, you can do them pretty quickly right here as well. Okay, so let's close that. We're going to go back over here to our simple way and just click edit here. Alright, the label style composer, the first tab is information. This tells you your name basically. And then your general tab, you look at the label text style, you could change that here. You could change the label text style to a different one that you created. You can make it false for visibility so it wouldn't show. That's making sense. Display mode is as a label. The layer, so here you can change the layer and select the layer that you want your label to show up on. And then remember, this is just bearing over distance that you're making changes to. So in our layers class, we talked about changing the adding a layer called dim, D-I-M, and so you might want to change this layer here to dim so that all your bearing and distances went onto the dim layer every time you use that label style. Okay, then I'm going to skip ahead. Let's go to layout. And then it wants to show the different components of the layout. So we have a bearing component and we also have a distance component. We're going to look at bearing component first. Has a name, whether it's visible, anchor point, and here you can change the text height. Notice that the text height is at 0.15 inches. So whatever you change your scale to, it's going to adjust the text accordingly to make sure that it prints at 1.15 inches. So I said before that I thought it was a little large. In the book, it's recommended that text size be 0.12 or 0.125 inches. So let's change that to 0.12. Now we also want to change that for the distance so that they match. So you can change the distance, go down to text height, and type in 0.12. And now they match. Let's go back to bearing. What else did we want to change about this? Well, like I said before, the precision is a little bit more than we need. So let's change that. And the place you change that is here, the text content. And you select the three dots, and this text component editor comes up. And it's basically code for what is placed in that component. So let's select that one component there. And the property is called the general segment. So it's a general segment, line segment, and it's telling us what direction it's going in. And this describes how that is shown on the screen. It's in degree unit. You could change that to radians or grads. And the format is in degrees, minutes, and seconds with spaces between the degrees, minutes, and seconds. Let's change that to without spaces. You could also pick decimal. The measurement type is in bearings, and then here we are, here's the precision. It's 0.01 seconds. We want to change that to 1 second precision. Now here's the tricky part. In order to make sure that your changes are made, you have to click this arrow to the right. It won't update it unless you do. You also want to make sure that you've selected it, because if you don't, it will just add a new line there. So you will have two bearings that show up. We don't want that either. So it's been selected. You've made your changes here. Now you click the arrow. It updates the code. So you say OK. And as you can see, it has rounded to the nearest second, and it's taken out the spaces. So there's our new bearing. Now, what do we want to change about the distance? We wanted to change the the precision on the distance. So we changed the text type. Let's go here to the content, select it here, make sure it's highlighted, and the properties say it's a general segment and length. The unit is foot, and the precision here needs to be changed to the hundredths place. And then we want to click the arrow to add it over. Now you can see that it's changed it to 2 decimal places. Then you have this tab called drag state. So if you want to take this bearing and distance off of the line and drag it over here with a leader with like an arrow pointing to it, it would change some features of the text. First of all, it would create a leader, closed and filled in arrow, and this side, and it would put it on this color, and then it would stack the text. You could change that as compose, but it would stack the text, and it has a border around it, but it won't show it. If you change that to true, you could see it, a border around it. And then the text type is now going to be 0.1 instead of 0.12. Well, I think we should leave it at 0.12. Let's change it back to 0.12. And then it has other features of a leader. So let's just change that. Then you have a summary where you can look at it, look at the different components, a summary of those components. And I guess you can also change those here if you'd like. So let's hit apply and OK. And now you can see it's kind of made the text a little bit smaller, and it's changed all of them. Every one of them that use that text or that label style has been updated with the changes. But we also have the arc, so we need to change the arc label style. Let's go over here to the curved label style and click edit. And general is all showing here. Go to layout. So there are different components on this one. First you have the distance and radius, they're together, and then the delta is on the other side. So let's look at the distance and radius. We want to change the precision. It's really the only thing we're looking for except for the text height. So let's change the text height here to 0.12 again. And let's go to the segment content. And this one has 2 segments, okay? Remember, it has the general segment length. And then it also has a general segment curve radius. So let's click on the first one, highlight it, general segment length, and let's change the precision to the hundredth. Don't forget, click the arrow. Now let's click on the general segment curve radius, and let's also change that to the hundredth, and click on the arrow. Hit OK, and now you can see that it is showing it appropriately in the preview box. Now let's change the delta. Go over to the delta, change the text type 0.12, and then click on the content, and select that segment. It is a general segment total angle, and let's change the precision. Okay, the format is in decimal, and we want to change that to degrees, minutes, seconds, and the precision is at 1 second. Say OK. Oops, what did I forget to do? I forgot to hit the arrow. So let's change that to, change that to degrees, minutes, seconds. It pops up at 1 second. Click the arrow, hit OK, and then it updates it. Everything looks right. Let's hit apply, and you can see it changed my text there. So this is not really fitting very well, so I want to make it into a leader. So if I select that little box, it will create a leader that points to the arc, gives me my arc length, radius, and a delta angle. So that is how you annotate or label a boundary and adjust the label styles to match it. You will be asked to do this on your homework assignment.